The relationships here, we still don't understand the relationships. You're asking why this place is special. We still don't really know how the water works with the geology, works with the climate, works with species, works with plant roots that are secreting, how many hundreds of different compounds into the soil they're used by, we can go on and on about it. And so the easier you think, the default is just to dumb it down, and then it makes it much easier to bulldoze into the spoil. So when you're paying attention, when you're listening to it, it's hard to destroy it. The gorge runs basically east-west. It opens out on the east toward the Piedmont. So you have north-facing slopes, south-facing slopes. You have peculiar geology. We have acidic soils here, like you have in much of this area, but we also have sweeter, more alkaline soils. We have amphibolite rock here, which has a basic impact on soils when it degrades, and so that we have these sweet soils that allow a wider variety of plants to grow. The gorge itself, generally, the landmark everyone thinks of is Chimney Rock State Park, which is right over there. A lot of people know it, and that, of course, is protecting a lot of land in the gorge already. The state park is around about 3,000 acres right now. Hickory Nut Gorge is huge. It's many times that size. So Chimney Rock State Park just protects a fraction of that. And then the three land trusts that work in Hickory Nut Gorge, Foothills Conservancy out of Morganton, the Nature Conservancy, which is the big national land trust, as well as Carolina Mountain Land Conservancy. We've protected several thousand more acres. And we all work together to help make Chimney Rock State Park as well.
I work with a cooperative weed management area called the Weed Action Coalition of the Hickory Nut Gorge, which is focused on the prevention of invasive species here in the gorge. If we take the Hickory Nut Gorge here as an example, the way I define it is it's 66,000 acres. Based on the calculations and the inventory we've done, we're saying about 10% of it is potentially infested with invasives. So that's quite a large acreage. But as far as the threat to this area, I think it's one of the highest priorities for land managers.
We are a staff of 20 people, and we have an office in Hendersonville, and we can't do everything all the time that we want to do. I mean, we have this huge mission of saving the places you love, but with 20 people and, across multiple counties, it's really hard to do. So without volunteers, we wouldn't get anywhere. So we always need volunteers, but it's as easy as just calling us up or going on to our website and looking at our calendar to see what's on the schedule. So whatever we can get is great.
There's a lot of stuff people miss. I miss a lot of stuff. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I try to be aware, though, that there's a lot of interesting things around me. In this land in particular, because I'm working with the Episcopalian Order of Nuns, in discussing them what happens here, that is the creation of the Teaching and Research Reserve, it was very important that the land not only be protected, but also used in a way that would support their mission. And let me say this, there's a very high moral tone associated with this project. And the sisters are to thank for that. So go on a hike in the woods and be quiet. Don't take your cell phone, just leave it alone or turn it off or whatever, and just start paying attention. And whether it's here in Hickory Nut Gorge, in a big nature preserve, or even in a city park like Jackson Park in Hendersonville, there's a lot being said to us right now that we're just not listening to, is my belief. And we've got to save it so that one day we can listen to it.
So there's a million reasons that we should protect the environment. Everything down from economic to social to personal levels, but deep down these things have as much of a right to thrive and to survive as we do. And often the case is that we've taken that away from them. So here in the Hickory Nut Gorge we have this really special assemblage of 3 salamander species that are endemic to this area and found basically nowhere else in the world. The Blue Ridge Gray-cheeked salamander, the crevice salamander, and now this Hickory Nut Gorge green salamander. The crevice salamander is found nowhere else on Earth, but right here in the Swannanoa Mountains, and primarily within the Hickory Nut Gorge. Their total range size is extremely small, and that's why they're a state-protected species. We're pretty worried about these guys because there's just not that many known populations.
I just found, I think, the smallest green I've ever found. You gotta try to get a picture of this. I don't know if I'll be able to get it out.
The green salamander is a threatened species and species group across their entire range. But our research is showing that this lineage that's found right here in the Hickory Nut Gorge is actually a distinct species we're calling the Hickory Nut Gorge green. Again, found nowhere else in the world but right here. A handful of populations in the Hickory Nut Gorge, probably less than 20 total populations that we know of, each one having, not very many individuals. So this is one of the most threatened salamanders, if not in the world, certainly within the United States.